let us take a deep dive into exactly where Jordan stands right now. She has been through absolute hell recently. She was the tragic victim of a horrifying hit-and-run car crash, a nightmare that we now know was orchestrated by Brooke Lynn. Jordan had to fight tooth and nail just to recover physically and mentally from that twisted metal wreckage. She spent weeks in agonizing pain, slowly putting the shattered pieces of her life back together. On top of her own physical trauma, she stood fiercely by Portia during a terrifying, high-stress labor, proving once again that she is the ultimate pillar of strength in this town. But despite all her resilience, Jordan is currently floating completely adrift. Jens is finally sitting behind bars, meaning she is entirely free from the dark shadow of his reign of terror. She is no longer his subordinate, and she is no longer caught under his heavy, suffocating thumb. Furthermore, she has not fully reclaimed her seat as the deputy mayor. She is existing in this rare, unprecedented state of limbo. She is a brilliant, capable woman with absolutely no mission to focus her sharp mind on. She is free, but in this town, freedom usually just means you are a sitting duck waiting for the next disaster to strike. Meanwhile, on the completely opposite side of town, we have Jocelyn. Jocelyn is actively running away from her own destiny. She was directly offered the massive CEO position at her father, Jasper's massive corporate empire, by the newly arrived, highly mysterious Hudson. But Jocelyn flat out refused. Why? Because Jocelyn is entirely obsessed with her thrilling new life as a WSB super spy. She wants to be out in the field, dodging bullets with Z, not sitting behind a mahogany desk looking at quarterly profit margins. She desperately tried to pawn the CEO job off on Michael, but Michael is currently drowning in his own chaotic mess. Michael is dealing with the explosive fallout of Willow being framed for the hit and run, not to mention his absolute disgust after discovering that Jacinda deliberately drugged Willow's iced coffee. Michael is far too distracted to run a global conglomerate. Jocelyn is completely cornered. She desperately needs a savior to take this corporate burden off her shoulders so she can freely pursue her dangerous espionage dream. Guys, this is exactly where the domino effect begins. The first domino to fall is Jocelyn's sheer desperation to escape her father's shadow. Jocelyn looks around this chaotic town and realizes she needs someone with impeccable integrity, brilliant leadership skills, and an unbreakable moral compass. She needs someone who cannot be easily intimidated or bought. She sets her sights on Jordan. Imagine the scene. Jocelyn approaches Jordan with the ultimate proposition. At first, Jordan is undoubtedly going to laugh it off. Why would a former top-tier police commissioner and political powerhouse want to step into the ruthless, cutthroat boardroom of a legacy family business? Jordan knows better than anyone that corporate empires in this town are built on secrets, lies, and blood. She does not want to deal with the messy, exhausting corporate drama. She wants peace, but Jocelyn is incredibly persuasive. Jocelyn will pitch this not just as a job, but as an opportunity for Jordan to completely reinvent herself. Jocelyn will offer her a staggering, astronomical salary, unparalleled global power, and the ultimate chance to build a brand new legacy that has absolutely nothing to do with the police force or the mayor's office. It is the ultimate fresh start. The second domino falls when Jordan, tempted by the sheer magnitude of the opportunity and the promise of a new direction, finally says yes. She officially agrees to become the new CEO. Jordan genuinely believes she is stepping into a bright, successful new chapter of her life, but we know better. By accepting this massive role, Jordan unknowingly paints a giant, glowing target directly on her own back. Jocelyn, absolutely thrilled that she has successfully dodged the corporate bullet, decides to go all out. She wants to celebrate her brilliant maneuver and officially introduce the new face of the company to the world. Jocelyn organizes a lavish, extravagant inauguration party, likely at the Metro Court. She invites the elite, the press, and all the major players. Champagne is flowing, the paparazzi are waiting, and the atmosphere is electric with anticipation. Jordan is likely at home, putting on a stunning gown, looking in the mirror, and feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment she hasn't felt in months. But this is where the third domino falls, and it triggers a terrifying, vicious cycle of violence. On her way to this glamorous inauguration party, the dark, unforgiving shadows of the city will swallow Jordan whole. I firmly believe that before she ever steps foot on that red carpet, Jordan is going to be brutally ambushed, attacked, and kidnapped by a mysterious, highly trained figure. The sheer terror of being violently thrown into the back of a dark van just as she was about to claim her ultimate triumph is exactly the kind of agonizing drama these writers love to inflict on us. But why? Who would want to snatch Jordan on the biggest night of her professional career? This will not be a random mugging or a simple crime of opportunity. This will be a highly calculated, surgically precise strike. The CEO chair at that specific company holds the keys to millions of dollars and decades of buried corporate secret. If you ask me, we need to look incredibly closely at Hudson. Hudson is my prime suspect number one. He arrived in town completely out of nowhere, aggressively searching for Ethan and carrying a massive hidden agenda. Hudson specifically wanted Jocelyn to take the CEO chair. Why? Because Jocelyn is young, inexperienced, easily distracted by her WSB spy games, and frankly, very easy to manipulate in a boardroom setting. Hudson could run his dark operations right under Jocelyn's nose without her ever noticing a single discrepancy. But Jordan is a completely different beast. Jordan is a seasoned, hardened, former police commissioner. She knows exactly how to follow a complex paper trail. She knows how to spot a lie, and she would uncover any financial manipulative scheme Hudson is running within a matter of days. Hudson absolutely cannot afford to have a brilliant investigator like Jordan looking at the company's private ledgers. I theorize that Hudson realizes Jordan is a massive existential threat to his entire operation. To protect his dark corporate secrets, Hudson has to eliminate the threat before Jordan can officially sign the legal paperwork and take control. He orders the kidnapping to ensure she never makes it to that party. However, we absolutely cannot ignore the second, equally terrifying possibility. What if this nightmare is actually an unholy alliance orchestrated by the one and only Jens? Yes, we all know Jens is currently sitting in a cold jail cell, fuming with rage after Sonny and Justine finally managed to take him down. But a man with Jens's limitless resources, global connections, and sheer psychopathic determination always has a deadly backup plan. Jens is not the type of man to just sit quietly behind bars and accept defeat. He has sleeper agents, loyal mercenaries, and secret minions lurking in the shadows, just waiting for his command. Let's not forget the crucial history here. Jordan was instrumental in Jens's downfall. Jordan teamed up with Laura to aggressively pursue a promising lead regarding Jens's secret hiding places. Jordan actively investigated his properties and provided the intelligence that helped tighten the noose around his neck. Jens knows exactly what Jordan did to him, and Jens demands bloody retaliation. Striking Jordan on the exact night she is supposed to be celebrated as a powerful new CEO, that is classic, textbook psychological warfare. It is the ultimate revenge. Jens could easily be pulling the strings from behind bars, using a burner phone or a corrupt guard to order a loyal henchman to snatch Jordan off the street. Jens wants to completely destroy her moment of glory and remind the entire town that even from a locked cage, he is still the most dangerous predator in the jungle. The fourth domino falls when the news of Jordan's disappearance finally reaches the inauguration party. Imagine the sheer, devastating horror washing over Jocelyn as she stands at the Metro Court, surrounded by balloons and champagne, waiting for a guest of honor who is never going to arrive. The realization will crash down on Jocelyn like a ton of bricks. Her desperate, selfish attempt to avoid her own corporate responsibilities just handed Jordan a literal death sentence. Jocelyn will realize that her incredibly generous job offer was actually a poisoned chalice. The guilt will completely consume Jocelyn, likely pushing her deeper into her reckless WSB spy persona as she desperately tries to use Z's resources to hunt down Jordan's kidnappers. And the ripple effect of this kidnapping will absolutely tear this town apart. Think about Curtis. Curtis is currently fighting for his own freedom in a highly stressful court trial, desperately trying to beat the assault charges pushed by the vengeful Isaiah. Curtis is terrified of going to prison and being separated from his newborn son, Desmond. But the moment Curtis hears that Jordan, the woman who never left his side, the woman he pulled from the burning wreckage of that horrific car crash, has been kidnapped, he will lose his mind. Curtis will drop his entire legal defense strategy. He will risk his own freedom, his trial, and his future just to hit the streets and find her. This single event will rock the entire foundation of the town. Anna, who just ruthlessly reclaimed her position as police chief and forced Dante to step down, will have to launch a massive, frantic manhunt. Chase, who just got his detective badge back from Anna, will be thrown straight into the fire, desperately trying to track down his former boss. The dominoes will crush everyone in their path as corporate espionage violently collides with mob-level revenge. So, guys, I have to ask you, who do you truly believe is driving this terrifying nightmare? Is Hudson desperately trying to protect a dark billion-dollar corporate secret by silencing the one woman smart enough to catch him? Or is Jen sitting in his dark cell, smiling wickedly as he orchestrates the ultimate revenge against the woman who helped lock him away? Either way, Jordan is walking straight into a deadly trap, and I am absolutely terrified for her future. Let me know your thoughts, because this mystery is about to explode.